Hello, it's your girl Lily P, and today's video is how to analyze a kingdom in Dominion. So, without further ado, let's hop right in. The first thing you want to look at is whether or not you can trash cards, and if so, how. Trashing should be your number one priority. So, if the only trasher costs 5, for instance, and you aren't fortunate enough to get a 5 2-star, you should probably figure out how to reach 5 as soon as possible. The important thing to remember is that this is a general guideline. There are kingdoms where trashing is not the number one priority, such as when there are gardens, for example. I should mention that trashers also include exilers. Exilers are, in most cases, better than trashing because of their ability to keep your deck size from changing as you buy victory points. If you aren't able to trash, you need to be careful with what sorts of cards you put into your hand. Anything that allows you to draw and cycle your deck will likely be most useful. Building an engine will be hampered. There are some events that are incredibly helpful at keeping your hands clear, so building your hand so you're able to buy said event every turn is a good idea. Next, we have attack cards. Attack cards are one of the most important things to be aware of, as you won't have any control when these cards are played. Junkers are usually no big deal if you have a decent trasher, but if there are no trashers, then junking your opponent's deck should be a priority. Even with a decent trasher, junkers are great at interfering with opponents' hands early in the game, but you shouldn't play them at the cost of your own early development. Hand deck, hand deck attack cards are one of the other main attack types. The main thing to do with this is just treat your maximum deck size as lower, maximum hand size, as lower than normal, and you should be able to work around these attacks, especially later in the game. If there is no draw power, these sorts of attacks can be extremely powerful to have, and also turn games into a slog if you can play them regularly. Final attack type I'll discuss are trashers. I hate these attacks the most. The best thing you can do is get as many duplicates you need of important cards, construct your deck in a way that each card is not critical. Gainers are a good counter to these, provided they don't get trashed. There are some trashers, such as Rogue, they only attack you if it can't gain something from the trash. So you want to fill the trash with stuff so you can't get attacked. There are reaction cards that protect you from attacks, and depending on how devastating the attack card will be to your strategy, you should consider investing in them. Oftentimes, I find that the best play is just ignore them and play around them, as I find the benefit of attacking the opponent to be small compared to other cards. Moving on to the next thing you should look at, actions. Being able to play multiple actions is an essential part of any Dominion deck. Villages and their variants are the most common types of +2 action cards. These aren't necessarily a priority early on, while you won't necessarily want to grab these sorts of cards early on. Oftentimes they provide +1 cards as well, and almost certainly will not clog up your deck or get in the way. Feel free to get them when you have the chance. The main point of looking at the actions and how you get them is to figure out what sort of engine you can build. Actions are the foundation of engines, after all. If there aren't any cards that give +2 action, you might not be out of luck just yet. If there are any cards that give +1 action, you might still be able to gain extra actions. Using things such as throne room variants or using cards that allow you to play cards at the start of your turn for free. But of course, if there's no way to play extra actions, you'll want to do two things. One, prioritize cantrips and limit the amount of terminal actions in your hands. If your deck has good repeatability, you might even be able to have just one terminal action in your hand. Next thing you'll want to look at is plus cards. Drawing cards is the easiest way to expand hand size. For me personally, I love duration cards that can draw 2 or more cards. If you have an even amount, preferably 4, any such card, you'll be able to play 2 every turn, assuming you have good repeatability in your deck. Knowing how big your hand can be and knowing how big you can guarantee your hand will be each turn is what I like to refer to as the maximum hard hand capacity. For example, if you have 2 Imperial Envoys and every turn you delay one of them, this means at the beginning of each of your turns, you will draw 10 cards. So if you were to have, say, 2 golds, 1 silver, and a chapel as well, this means you will be able to buy 1 province a turn for 7 straight turns guaranteed. Depending on what other VPs are in the game, being able to guarantee 7 straight province buys should be enough in a 3 or 4 player game. It's probably good enough in a 2 player game as you still have a high probability of drawing the cards you need to get provinces 8 and 9. You also probably will never be able to buy that many provinces. Not having draw cards means you have to work with a small maximum hand size for the entire game. This will probably limit your ability to do big buys and build engines. Unless, of course, you have an exiler, then in which case a simple strategy such as a few treasures, 3, and the exiler would give you the ability to buy a province a turn. Now you want to look at treasure. Some cards give you treasure, and there are also alt treasures. There's not a whole lot to say on this subject since money will be available in every kingdom, but a lot of cards offer +2 treasure, and you have to ask yourself if it's better than a silver. Speaking of silver, though, I always try to skip buying silver when possible, so cantrips that offer treasure are good cards for me, especially if they cost less than 5. Don't go too far on your hate for silver. If a kingdom is expensive or there's an important card costing 5, buying silver can be the play. Next, you'll want to look for plus buys and gainers. The ability to gain additional cards per turn is important. Some gainers are trash for benefits, so can work wonder for clearing your deck, also providing you with useful cards so you don't fall behind. Plus buys are not so important in the beginning of the game, but in the middle, you have more money, and especially at the end when people are buying victory points. Gainers are usually limited in some way, but be mindful of gainers as they can dramatically affect the speed of games. If there are no buys and no gainers, you may be in for a slog, so you can take your time. If there are gainers, you might be in for a quick game, and you might even try to intentionally invoke one yourself after gaining just a small advantage in victory points. Finally, you want to look at events, project, and other such cards that aren't part of the kingdom. Some projects can be brought in the opening round, so you have to weigh the cost benefit of getting a project rather than a card from the supply. Some projects, such as Star Chart, are an absolute must buy. The ability to prevent your cards from bottom decking can be the difference between winning and losing. You really want to be mindful of combinations. Not all combinations are easy to see, but there are some that are incredibly powerful, such as Highway, Quartermaster, and anything that lets you play cards at the beginning of your turn. Journey in particular is a magnificent card for this combination to work, allowing you to gain duchies and even provinces if you have enough highways with your Quartermaster. Gainers and trash for benefits are where you can find some good combinations. Bishop and Bandit are a solid combination, for example. I obviously can't go through all the combinations as there are more kingdoms and stars in the Milky Way. Hopefully, you get the idea. That's all I got for you today. So, until next time, keep your head above water.